Okay. The buy here, pay here dealership. With regards to those, this is not a video hating on any particular, dealership or type of dealership, but I would just say if you can avoid these types of dealerships, I definitely would. And this again comes into you knowing your financial situation and the options that you have. So if I know in the town I live in and where I work, a lot of times what I will see at my job, I used to help with training at my job, and even if I don't, I walk through the parking lot every day, and I notice we get new training classes in, and it never fails. We always get a new training class, and you see people with 30-day tags popping up everywhere because people got a job, they want to get a car, and you see a lot of these buy here, pay here, tags in the parking lot. And I kind of shake my head sometimes. Sometimes that might be your only option if you cannot get financing, you've had bankruptcy or repossession. But I mean, for me, and I'm a guy with some mechanical knowledge, so it's kind of easier for me to say, I would rather buy a beater car for under $2,000. And again, that's going to be dependent upon who you know. A lot of times you have to do a little more digging to find that treasure. If you don't know that much about cars, I would say find somebody who does. And then also, if you know somebody who's, a mechanic or they have a shop, it's sometimes worth it to. And I used to have a guy when I was fresh out of college, and I had to buy another car, or even before, I was in college and I bought a car. I'd actually had some work done at a mechanic, and he actually looked at a car for me for free. He drove around for like 45 minutes and told me, the issues. I ended up not buying the car. There was something with the axle, and I'm glad I took it to him. But if you can find people who are mechanically inclined, they can go with you, or you can pay them to look at a car before you buy it. I would say do that. Get the beater car if you're in a jam and you really need a car quickly. If you have some time and you're like, this car is going to fail me, instead of the buy here, pay here, I would say, try to save up $2,000 to $5,000. See if you can get a moderately decent car. May not look the best, but it runs. No major mechanical issues. You may find old Grandma Thule in the neighborhood has this old car she never drove. Just look for those deals. If you don't have money, a lot of times you have to put in more legwork to make up for the lack of capital and finances you have. And guys, definitely be willing to do that. I've been there. You got to make it work. And I guess the meat of the video that I wanted to get into is the reason I don't like those buy here, pay here, or buy here, pay here places is because a lot of times when people go there, they really should not be buying a car that they have payments on, because that you don't, if you don't have consistent income, you're bouncing to a new job every 3 to 6 months. That's going to put you in jeopardy. You don't want to be riding around without insurance. That can cause complications and warrants and God knows whatever else that you're going to get into while you're trying to make two payments of $250 a month for an '02 Corolla or Camry that you really should not be paying $400 a month on. And I mean, the reason why I said at the beginning of the video is I'm not trying to bash these dealerships, because it is a situation where they're making a lot of money on those loans. Because if you think about it, you're paying $400 a month, and a lot of times they do this where it's two payment or a payment every 2 weeks, and really, one of those payments is what you should be paying per month for the type of vehicle that you have. And I might have to get into that in a later video, the types of stock that they keep, things like that. But the problem with that is you end up paying a lot of money. I mean, if you have a vehicle that's 10 plus years old, you're paying $400 a month. That is a lot of money for that vehicle. And the reason why is because that dealership is taking a huge risk on you. You may have little to no credit, a dodgy history, something like that, and they're taking a risk that they may not get their money. 6 months down the road, you may decide, I'm going to go get another job, but I'm not going to have a job for 3 months. And, they're taking a huge risk. So for them, it's huge risk, huge reward if you're paying a lot. And if that's what you have to do, that's what you have to do. But If you can get the cash car, I would say go for that because, again, just on the sheer fact that you're paying a lot of money for the vehicle that you're getting. And it's just a heavy burden with car payments that in a lot of cases, people do not need. So I would, strongly advise against those. And when you go to those dealerships, it rolls into, if you watch my first video about car buying, you'll know you go into those dealerships, it's about, well, how much can you afford to pay per month, not how much are you going to be paying over the life of a loan for a vehicle. A lot of these places you're paying, 15, 20% interest on a vehicle, and your payments are really, really high. So, it may seem glamorous because they have that truck, that SUV, that Charger with the rims you want. But guys, take a step back. If you can, do the beater car, do the cash car, and then move into a situation where you can actually go to a dealership and purchase a car. And when you put in that hard work, to work on your credit, to pay off bills and things like that, it'll pay in the long run. It's funny. I used to do Dave Ramsey, and he always has a quote that says, live like no one else so you can live like no one else. Everybody out there is getting the most expensive, the nicest car they could possibly afford at the cost of future savings, 401k, having a cushion if there's some sort of catastrophe. But if you live like no one else, and I'm going to steal his line because it's a great line, where you have that beater car, you drive that beater car for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 years, and then you get, especially 4 or 5 years, you can do a lot with your credit in that time frame. And then you can, move on to a nicer car and then feel comfortable enough to say, oh, well, this is great. I can still take a vacation, or I can still go out to eat or do what I want to do and not have to worry about my lights getting cut off because I'm making a car payment and insurance payment, which you're going to have to do anyway. But anyway, it's lesser if you don't have full coverage. But watch my other video if you have any questions about that. But anyway, guys, I know I kind of rambled in this video. I hope it was still helpful to you. Like I said, test out my ideas, talk to different people around you who have good credit, are good with their money, and ask them what they think about your situation. Make sure it's somebody you trust. They're not going to go out telling your business. And if you have any comments or suggestions, put them below in the comment section. I'll try to get to them as quickly as possible. Thanks for watching.